Next, I'm going to show you our macaron graduation cake. Some of your customers are going to be ready for full-size sheet cakes and large celebrations, but for those who aren't, I'd like to show you how to make a special graduation cake that feels just the right size. Here I'm going to use our Dawn Baker's Request white cake mix. Each of these cakes have been baked at a 1 pound deposit, and you'll notice how they bake level for less waste. I don't have to trim bellies, I don't have to worry about changing my cake up. It looks clean and tight, just like this. So my cake here is going to be 3 layers. We're going to put our white icing in to fill it, and after I get a nice flat area, we'll put our next Baker's Request cake layer up. We're gonna go up 3 layers, which means that I'm going to add an internal support system. I'm going to use straws, and I'm going to use biodegradable straws so that I know that I'm not contributing to more waste as I do it. Now you'll notice I'm taking a look, I'm making sure that it's nice and straight on the sides, and it is. Okay, good. So when we use internal supports, it might seem a little counterintuitive, but we put the buttercream down first. There we go, really thin layer. After it's down, I'm going to measure my internal support system, put it in, wrap it around, and you should be able to see here where the buttercream stops. Don't cut it at the top of the buttercream because your cake will need to settle just underneath here. Good. Now, I'm going to use the other 2 as a measure with this straw to decide how thick they should go. Now, if I'm tiering a cake, I may do more than 3 supports, but because I'm not tiering this out, it's simply a tall layer cake, this'll do. My 1 support with the cake on the inside goes back to the spot that it came from, and I push it all the way down. This way, if my cake settles a little in the cooler, I won't have odd bumps on the top of it. And here we go. So now I'm going to fill in these little spots with buttercream. There we go. And remember, I'm just crumb coating at this point. You can crumb coat however you see fit. If you like using a speed icer, use a speed icer. If you like doing it by hand, do it by hand. It's whatever works for you and your bakery. But you can see now that essentially what I'm doing is just drawing the buttercream around that's already there in 1 single layer. Now the key with crumb coating is to make sure that the icing goes all the way to the bottom. And if it goes all the way to the bottom, then I know that I'm locking in the moisture and the freshness of the cake with my buttercream. So my favorite thing to do when I'm crumb coating is to crumb coat the day before, let my cake sit up a little bit in the cooler. I liked it to go overnight, but a couple hours is fine to make sure that it's gonna have all of its settling done before I go back and smooth ice it. After I've straightened out my sides, which are nice and straight, I'm gonna go in and do a nice corner on the top. 1, 2 with the spatula. All right, one more time. 1, 2 with my spatula. This little friend has, we crumb coated it yesterday and it's ready to be smooth iced. So you can see I put internal supports in and put them way down and then let it set up overnight so you won't see any evidence of the internal supports on the top of the cake. That's really important. I am going to smooth ice with our Dawn white buttercream. I like to put a dollop on the top and bring it down, but really it's whatever works for you. You could speed ice, you could use a piping bag, you could do whatever works best for you. So essentially what I'm gonna do is put too much buttercream on the cake, then I'm gonna slowly clean it off. Now, the nice part about this cake is that because it's going to be decorated with macarons, yes, you want it to be smooth ice, and yes, you want it to be pretty, but this is not a wedding cake, and those macarons are gonna hide any of the imperfections in your smooth ice job because no one is gonna pay any attention to the white beneath it when you see these beautiful summer macarons. So you can see them in front of me. These are from our summer collection, and what we've done is we've taken the macarons and we've popped them in half and scraped off the buttercream on the inside. Now, you don't have to do that. That is an optional step. And what I do for my Dawn buttercreams is I use a hot, dry spatula. Dry is the key. If you use a hot spatula and you don't take that second step of placing it against the towel, then you're gonna get a drippy buttercream that kind of comes right off the cake. We don't want to add any moisture to it. The buttercream's perfect as it is. Doesn't need anything else in it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the top edge. Top edges, I like to use 1, 2. Ready? 1, 2. So we're gonna bring it through once, towards you, flip the spatula so we see that the dirty is not going against my cake. Second time around. We're gonna do that one more time. Here we go. We're gonna go 1, 2, work on that corner. My bottom border here, instead of having a border, is gonna have macarons. So I wanna clean that off a little bit. You'll notice I've got some halvesies here. That's for the bottom. Now, if your buttercream is super fresh like mine is, you might not need to put a little glue on it, but I'm going to just in case, just a touch. You want to put enough buttercream on it that it will stick onto the cake, but not so much that it'll squish out the sides, because what we don't want to do is see it squishing out the sides. So here we go. Now, for an 8-inch cake, I feel like it's about 13 halves, which, you know, is not a number that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense, but about 13 halves. And one of the things that I love about our macarons is that we have collections for each season. So this is our summer collection that has really beautiful summer colors and summer flavors, but this cake can be relevant year-round because you could use our winter collection in the winter, our fall in the fall, and so on and so forth, and kind of make sure that this cake stays current with the season. For the next 2 layers, I want to make sure that I have this nice shoulder at the top here visible. So I'm going to measure them. So I'm going to put the blue on first here. And before I do any more, I'm gonna put my purple here. And I wanna make sure that I go right to the edge, not over and not under. And then adjust these 2 little friends as it makes sense. Okay, good. See how those make sense and they're all lined up? Now I can go ahead and lay in all the stripes. So we're gonna pre-ice a bunch of these and slide it out as quick as we can. There is your graduation macaron summer cake.